Hey guys, it's Will from EDM Tips. Today I'm going to show you how to get your kicks hitting harder in 5 minutes. So if you want your 808 kicks and your 808 bass lines hitting really hard, this video is going to really help you out. In 5 minutes I'm going to show you how to get your beat from sounding like this to getting your kick sounding massive like this. And I'm just going to be using free plugins, so you don't have to shell out loads of money for expensive third-party plugins. Now, whether you're producing trap or future bass or house or trance or whichever genre of music you are producing, these tips are going to help you get your kick really punching through your mix. I've got something to give you at the end of this video, so stick around for then. It's going to really help you get your kicks punching through your mix, and in fact it's going to help every element of your mixing. Thanks for sharing and subscribing, and without further ado, let's hop into the door and get it done. The very first thing to consider is actually choosing a really good sample that works with the rest of your track is the best way to get it punched through your mix. Everything else is so much easier if you pick the right sounds to begin with. Okay guys, so the first step is to realize that it's not the peak loudness that we're trying to increase, it's actually the average loudness, because you can't get above 0 decibels, otherwise it starts to clip. So let's look at what I mean quickly. So if we zoom into our kick, we'll open the sampler. And remember, this is the same for any sampler in any DAW. You'll be able to see the shape of the kick, which, as you can see there's a peak at 0 dB and then it tails off. So the idea is, of course, that we want to make the kick punch through the mix. So this is our kick drum, and this is what happens if we just increase the volume. So you can see in that diagram it's actually clipping, and this is what it sounds like when it clips. So obviously we want to avoid that. So this is what we actually want to do, which is to increase the average volume so it actually sounds fatter without clipping. So this is hard clipping, where it completely levels it off like that. And we're going to use a bit of soft clipping just to round those edges off and make it sound a bit smoother. Now what I'm doing in Ableton is I've assigned a shortcut to my fatten chain. So when I show you these tricks on my different elements, I can use the shortcut so we can A/B test the sound, which is what you always want to be doing. And remember, it's not just the kick that we need to process to actually make the kick more punchy. But first we are going to process the kick. And remember, this is using all free plugins, so you can either download them for free by using the links below, or your DAW will already have an equivalent for free as a stock plugin. So first in our chain is saturation. And saturation is just like enhancing the frequencies that the kick drum already has. So this is a great free plugin. It's by Softube, saturation knob. And let's hear what happens. So you can hear that it's becoming distorted, and this is what's happening in diagram form. So that's our sweet spot. And next I'm putting in a gain plugin just to turn the gain down by the amount that the plugin has increased it, and that's so we can actually just hear the coloration of the sound rather than increasing the volume. And let's have a look at what that's done in terms of levels. So this is with the saturator off. We can see we're peaking at minus 3.7 decibels there. Let's turn it on. And actually we're peaking at minus 5.73 decibels there, even though it sounds so much louder. Listen to the difference. And what that means is that we can then turn up the kick drum in our mix, and we've still got headroom. So it sounds louder, but it's actually peaking at a lower level because we've kind of sausaged it out a bit. So that's number one, saturation. The next thing is to layer your kicks. Now you don't always need to do this. Remember, sound selection is really important. So you might already have found a kick that you really like and you might not want to layer it. But in this instance, I'm going to show you what happens if you layer a kick. So there's our kick with some saturation applied. Now this is a loop I made before and it's got a kick drum in it. So let's listen. So it's just a really high end. And it just adds more character to the kick drum. Okay, number 3 is EQ, and this is where we carve out space in the other elements for our kick to punch through. So let's have a look at the frequencies our kick drum is hitting. I'm using this free plugin by Voxengo called Span. It's just a spectrum analyzer. So our kick drum's fundamental frequency, which is the main frequency, is about 53 Hertz. So what we're going to do is go to our bass line. So that's our bass line with our kick drum. And all we're doing is going to use an equalizer. We're going to select 53 Hertz because that's about what our kick drum is hitting at, and then notch it down a few dB. And it might not quite be audible, but these are very small changes that's going to help your kick pop through the mix more. And remember, you can do that with other elements as well. So if you've got other instruments that are hitting about 50 hertz or whatever your kick drum's fundamental frequency is, you can notch those down a couple of dB as well, just to carve out more space for that kick to really punch through your mix. Okay, next is limiting. So if we go to our kick, we can use a limiter just to get another dB or so out of it. So we can push it louder with the gain and wait till we've got 1 or 2 dB gain reduction. And we'll put a gain plug in afterwards just to notch it down again, so we're just hearing the difference and not the increase in volume, which is going to kid our ears into thinking it sounds better anyway. If we look at what our kick drum is peaking at before we put the limiter on, -4. So we'll put the limiter on and then the gain plug in afterwards and make sure it's peaking at -4 still. That's close enough. And remember, you don't need to use all of these tips every time you make a track. It's a toolkit that you can draw from. Sometimes you might want to use them all, sometimes you might just use 1 or 2. Okay, sidechain compression, and you've probably all seen this before, but let's have a quick look. So we're going to sidechain our bass from our kick drum or our trigger channel here. So I'm using the Ableton Live sidechain compressor, but your DAW has a sidechain compressor as well. FL Studio, Logic X, they've both got sidechain compressors. So we're just taking the audio from our sidechain trigger, which is playing the exact same pattern as the kick. You can take it from the kick, but I'll link to another video on why I prefer to do it this way. So let's put the kick on. So this is no sidechain compression compared to sidechain compression. And you can see the kick is ducking the bass line and allowing the kick to pop through the mix more. So my 6th tip for making your kicks hit really hard is using bus compression. So what I'm doing is I'm going to route the bass and the kick to their own bus together, kick and bass bus. In Ableton Live, from the kick I've just done audio to KMB, and from the bass I've done audio to KMB and then turn the monitor on. And now my kick and bass are going through this audio channel. And this is a bit of a bonus tip, but I'm processing the kick and the bass together to really gel them and make them sound like they're stuck together. And all I'm doing is I'm adding a bit of bus compression. I'm using Ableton's glue compressor, but you can do this with any compressor really. And all I'm going to do is activate it, set the release to automatic, ratio to 4, and then just bring down the threshold until I'm getting about 2 dB of gain reduction. And I've got a soft clip on for the reason I said earlier. And then I'm just going to do the makeup by 2 dB because that's what I'm reducing the gain by. And let's compare. Again, very small moves at this stage, but they all add up together to help your kick really pop through the mix. So let's hear where we are now. So this is no kick punch harderer, and this is with it. So if we look at our master channel here, this is with none of our kick processing on. We're peaking at -6, and with our kick processing on, just above -6, but listen how fat that sounds. Nice. So there you have it guys, I really hope that you found this video useful. If you want to learn how to make a trap beat, maybe the beat that I used in this video, hit me up in the comments below, let me know and I shall make it happen. I said at the beginning I've got a free gift for you which is going to help you get really shiny punchy mixes. It's my ultimate mixing guide which you can download for free below this video. Until next time, cheers for watching and happy producing.